Hey loves, this is Bobby and I'm here with another vlog. And this is going to be vlog number 38, and I had an absolutely crazy reading week. I wanted to get in as many books as I can because I'm still trying to, as of today, which is Sunday, I am trying to finish off my readathon on my original TBR without having to double up. I might have to double up one book, but I am still pulling through and trying to. So yeah, I got in a lot of books this week, so let us get into it. I don't even know where to start because I don't even remember where I was at last week, so I'm just gonna go and grab off of my pile because yeah, it is a lot. One of the first books that I read was Circus Rose by Betsy Cornwall. This is a retelling of Rose Red Snow White. It is queer as hell. I loved it. One of the relationships is with a fairy, and the fairies go by more gender neutral terms, but one of the main characters, Ivory, she does refer to the one that she's in the relationship as being attracted to a more feminine female. The character's name is Tam, and instead of using he and her pronouns, they use fee and fur. So yeah, it's really cool the way it was taken. This also takes place in the same world as, it's called Mechanica. I actually have it, but I have never read it. It's a retelling of, I think, Cinderella, if I'm not mistaken. So I got a little confused because it does reference that book, because I do know it is a book. I didn't actually know it was by the same author. I knew I had it on my shelf somewhere when I was buying like a bunch of retellings. So I guess the world is more explained in that book because it's kind of just referenced in here like you're supposed to know. So I got a little confused about that. But it was a really good retelling. It was really short. I finished this in a couple hours. I did the audiobook while I was doing chores and stuff, so I was able to finish it pretty fast. But I really enjoyed it. Like I said though, this book is so queer. Their mother, the two sisters, Ivory and Rose, are twin sisters, but also half sisters. Their mother slept with two different men in the same like week or so and ended up pregnant with both of them. Their mother though is the leader of this circus, and she is the bearded lady. Neither one of the girls have a relationship with their father, but we end up kind of with a more polyamorous relationship with them. It does get into that a little bit. Like I said, the character Ivory, she's always been more attracted to men. Tam is the first time she's ever been attracted to someone that would be considered feminine. There are a group of dancing boys in here who they wear like corsets and stuff like that, and like stockings, and they're very sensual. And they do point out that other men look at them and women look at them with desire. Like, it's really cool the way it's all handled. And then we have the character of Rose, who's supposed to be Rose Red, and she is not in a relationship, but there are feelings between her and this bear, which, you know, obviously comes into play later. There's no bestiality, so but know that. But it was a lot of fun. It was really cute. I really enjoyed this. I am definitely want to check out Mechanica now because I'm interested in this world, because it has a very steampunky feel to it. So that was really cool. And then within this magical circus, because magic is like, it used to be outlawed and now it's more open, but there's this like religious group that are really against it, and they're awful. They are such a good background kind of villains, because like you hate them and like everything they stand for and what happens. Like, this was just really fun. I really enjoyed it. It was a great retelling. I believe I went with 4 stars. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. It was a really good book. I would read more by this author. The next one that I picked up after that was, I was feeling very magical, so I like I'm like, let's go with that. And I ended up picking up Nevermoor, The Trials of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. This is the middle grade one, and I was really excited for this one because I kept seeing it. I had never really heard anybody talk about that much, but I kept seeing it like pop up, and it sounded really cool. And you know what? It was. I loved it. This was like The Girl Who Drank the Moon, where it's that very dark. Like, it has very, very dark, like a tone to it and everything. I found a lot of some of the subject matter was a little more mature, and I really like that. I love when middle grade books do that because it feels like, you know, you're giving credit to kids that they can understand this stuff. We're following the story of a girl named Morgan Crow who on her, I believe it's her 11th birthday, she's supposed to die, and she's one of these cursed children. They have these either gifts, well, they're not gifts, they are seen as curses. Around her, things keep going bad. Like, if she even talks to someone, they'll blame her that she's like said hi, or she wished someone good luck and he ended up failing a test or something like that, and he blamed her because he said hi. She said hi to him. A cook who admitted to leaving food unattended ended up burning down their kitchen, blamed her because they said that they seen her like 2 days before. Even though she admitted that she left it unattended, they're still blaming Morgan. And then her father is absolutely awful. Her father just dismisses her. He sees her as a burden. He hates her for the most part. Her mother has passed away, and she has a stepmother who is completely indifferent to her. She ends up getting whisked away to this other world where these gifted kids, they are seen as having these, like, it's seen more as a power, and she's entered into this like trial games type of thing. It was really, really fun to get her place in this special group of people that are going to be like a family to her and everything. And she gets sponsored. This man Jupiter picks her up, and it is so magical and fun. But I really, really loved the darker undertones to this. It was just great. I 100% want to read the next book. I flew through this book in no time. Like I said, middle grade, so I do read them pretty fast, but I loved everything about this. After that one, because I was trying to get the full blackout without having to double up. The middle grade one I definitely needed. This next one was one that I 100% needed, and it was for the indigenous author. And I went with Robopocalypse by Daniel H. Wilson. I loved this so much. If you've ever read World War Z, it is told in that same format. It is a bunch of short stories, but they do connect, and they all have like the same basic plot, where this takes place in a future where it's broken up into different sections. We have before the robotic uprising, during the robotic uprising, and after. The stories are great. This was a solid 4 stars as well. I had a really tough week last week, as you know, where I read a bunch of like 2 and 3 star books. This week was amazing. I had, I think, all 4 and 5 for the most part, except I think 1 book. But yes, this different stories are great. We've get a lot of different kinds of representation and everything in here, seeing how this takes place in different countries. Like, we've got America and we've got like Japan and stuff, and seeing like the different people telling these stories. I really like the way it was broken up into the different sections. I really enjoyed all 3 of them. None of the stories stood out as being like bad, because usually I always have a hard time when they're short story collections, because there's always, you know, some you like, some you don't. This one, I enjoyed all of them, and I really like that whole connected theme to them. And then there's some characters where there's stories, we get them before, middle, and after. Other ones are just you one and done in one section. So it was a lot of fun. I've had this on my shelf for years and years and years, and I am so mad I waited to get to this. I think there's actually a sequel to this that I will be picking up because I just really liked it. It was a super fast read, action-packed, and like I said, if you want to read something with sci-fi or anything, I recommend this. It was a really easy sci-fi because we've got the different kind of point of views and stuff like that. And yes, I was 100%, I love this. Like, I can't get over it. I'm like so mad that it sat on my shelf for so long. But There we go. The next one that I got into was the other huge chunky boy, and I was excited for it, and I did really, really enjoy it in total. It was amazing. It lived up to... I didn't love it as much as the first one, but it was a very, very tight... I loved it. We got more of the characters and everything, and that is Layer of Dreams by Libba Bray. This is the second book in the Diviners series. There's 4 books. I've had these for a while, and I've been wanting to finish the series, so I'm hoping to finish the series this year. But I adored this. We get so much of the different characters and everything in the Divine. I can't really talk about anything in here because this does take place pretty soon after the first book, but we are following this takes place in New York in the Roaring 20s. Our main character, we have a bunch of main characters. In the first book, we centered a lot around Evie, who she is a young flapper girl. She has been sent from Ohio to New York to go live with her uncle because she got into a bunch of trouble because she has the power of, it's not clairvoyancy. It's when you touch an object and she can read it and she gets like the memories and stuff from it. She gets sent to New York, and her uncle, he runs this museum of oddities, and I don't know why her parents thought that was a good idea, but they did. And she gets into a bunch of trouble there. She meets new friends, new people. And there is this underlining horror story going on where we have this man that is killing people. In this one, we're led a little more into, we have a different kind of, I think each book has a different kind of evil entity, but in whole there is this like crowning one. He's going to be like the final boss, which is the King of Crows. We've got a lot more alluded to him in this one, and it was really freaking cool. As you can see in the cover I have, it's got the crows on there. I always have people asking when they see these, like, what edition, because there are like 10 different editions of these books. These are the Australian editions. Good luck. You can find the second and the third book, I think, on Book Depository, but the first book is impossible to get a hold of. I got really lucky. But yeah, I loved this one. We get to know all of the different characters. Evie gets a little bit more of the backseat this time because this is centered more around one of the characters from the first one, Henry. I loved Henry in the first book. But he was such a minor character. We're just kind of like introduced to him, really. We get him very heavy in here, as well as introducing these new characters with these powers. This series handles a lot of racial elements, especially with what was going on in the 20s with like the rise of the KKK and what is it? Like with immigrants from like China and Ireland and Italians. It's really focused in this book, and I really love the way it was handled. It felt real, like you saw where it was going and you still felt affected by it, but I really did enjoy this one a lot. The horror story in here is people are getting this sleeping sickness where they all of a sudden they're fine and then they just don't wake up and then they die in their sleep and nobody knows what's happening. This, though, going in, the sleeping sickness is handled like a pandemic, and it is very, very current with the coronavirus. People are blaming the Chinese neighborhoods in here because that's kind of like where it started and where it kind of got worse. So the Chinese immigrants are being attacked and stuff like that. Their businesses are going out, people are getting sick. So this does, I know a lot of people, especially with everything going on, don't like to read books like that. So know that going into this one, it's very, very heavy. It's like the main focal point of it, but it's done so well. I absolutely adored this. Sorry if you can hear my dogs running around in the background. But yeah, I adored this. I cannot wait to get into the next book. This was 5 stars as well. or I think I went like 4. It's like a 4.5. I'm not sure if I'll do the full 5 or the 4. There was just a couple pieces in here where it felt like it dragged a little too much, but I enjoyed all of the different characters. This one was very, very heavily centered on the characters because we're learning all of the different characters because there's so many, and then we're added more with their powers and everything. But I loved all the interaction. I love how we have, you know, characters in an interracial relationship in this time where they have to be secretive. We do have LGBT representation with Henry. He is gay, and him dealing with that with this time. And then just all of it, like there was some parts that were just absolutely heartbreaking. And then we've got, you know, the kind of like love triangles going on. I just genuinely enjoyed this all so much. But yeah, I recommend this series so far. Like, it's great. I cannot wait to get to book 3. After that, this was one of the other books I was super, super excited for because I absolutely loved the first book, which I read last month. And I was told this one was very different because the first one is very slapstick humor. This one was not, and it was fine because it fit the tone. And that is Bloody Rose by Nicholas Eames. This is the second book in the Kings of the Wild series. Like I said, I still don't know if there's like an actual title for this series. This takes place a few years after the first book, and we're following the band. I can't really get too much in it because you will kind of spoil it, but in the first book, we're following this group. They're an ex-group of mercenaries. They are all middle-aged. They're dads now. One of them, his daughter, forms a band of her own, and she ends up getting caught in this town where she will be, you know, it's like under siege and everything, and she will be killed. So her dad gets his ex-band back together, and they go there to try and save her. Like I said, the first one is super slapstick humor. It's hilarious. I cracked up so much with it. I was told ahead of time though that this one, the humor is very different. The humor is very dry in this one, and I loved it. We are following more. We are in Rose's, which is the daughter from the first one, her band, and you know, they're now kind of like the who's who of you know, this world now. Like everyone kind of looks up to them, but there is another kind of siege happening, and she's not going there. She's going somewhere else. So a lot of people are thinking she's like a chicken. What's going on? And they have picked up a new bard, because in this world, all the bards keep dying. Like anybody has a bard, they don't last more than like a week. So it's really funny with that. And we pick up a girl named Tam, which I just realized between this one and Circus Rose, Rose and Rose, and they both have a character named Tam. That's, what a coinkadink. But yeah, this one was like really great. We have our main character Tam in here, the bard. She is a lesbian. She only likes women. Like, she keeps joking about it, that, you know, like men, like, I don't find the appeal. Nicholas Eames handles all of it really well. We actually have like characters talking about like having their period, because a good chunk of there are 3 different women in this band, and they like even talk about like their cycles get synced up and stuff, which, you know, everyone always kind of scoots over the fact that, you know, that people get their period. And he handles it in here. It's kind of just mentioned, but it was like a small little detail that I was like, you know what, good for you. But yeah, it was freaking great. I loved it. The action was amazing. I went with 4 stars instead of 5 like I did with Kings of the Wild. This had a little bit of a chunk of it where it just kind of like dragged a bit. I was super invested. Like, the pacing and everything was so good at first. It was action packed, and then there was just a small part though where I kind of just like, okay, let's move on. It dragged, like I felt just a little bit. And like I said, the humor is very different in here. It's very dry. It's not as funny, but that fits the tone for this one, because Kings of the Wild is supposed to be ridiculous and everything. We do get a lot of the characters from the first book in here. There's this one other band of mercenaries called Lady Jane and the Silk Arrows. In the first book, all they do is keep robbing the main band that's in there, and they pop up in here, and I loved it. But yeah, we get a lot of like queer rep in here. Like, most of the women here are just like, damn, that's a fine ass lady over there, and I loved it. But I recommend this series. There is going to be a 3rd one. I think it comes out this year. I hope. I hope it comes out this year, because I am like super invested in this. I definitely recommend it if you just want a really fun, fast-paced, action-packed, what you call it, fantasy series. So yes, I love this so much. After that, I really wanted to get in my reread of this book because it was one of my favorite books, and I wanted to do the audiobook for this one this time around, and I still really liked it. It stayed as a 5 stars, and that is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I adore this book. I read it, sheesh, it was quite a few years ago. I read it for the first time. It might have been like four or 5 years ago, I think I read it, and I fell in love with it. Doing the reread was amazing. The one thing, this takes place in a world where when people have these near-death experiences where they do actually die and they get brought back for, however they do get back, brought back, but they have to die in these kind of certain circumstances, and they end up getting these powers, and they're called EOs, which are extraordinaries. We're following the story of two different characters. We have Eli Ever and Victor Vale. Eli gets the power to, he can't be hurt, basically. He kind of like regenerates, doesn't age or anything like that. And then Victor gets the power of pain. He can either cause extreme pain or he can take away pain. And Victor gets sent to jail. So this timeline in here bounces from before he was in jail and he got his powers, and then after he gets out of jail. I forgot how freaking awful Eli was. Oh my goodness. While I was listening to it the whole time, I'm just like, how do I not remember him being this terrible? Like, he is such a horrible person, and he's so unlikable, but he's supposed to be. And the thing I love about it is that Eli is seen as the hero in this. He's the one that's tracking down these other EOs that could hurt people, and he's going after them, and like, he's kind of like his own version of the X-Men, and like Victor is supposed to be more of like the like Magneto Brotherhood, but we're seeing this from Victor's point of view, so you root for Victor. Like, even though Victor tells himself that he tells himself that he's the villain, he's really not. Like, everyone in here is such a morally gray character. I love the full cast of characters in here. I feel like everybody has read this book by now. The sequel was absolutely amazing, which is Vengeful. I loved it. It was 4 stars, but rereading this, I was just like brought back in, and I needed this because after reading the second book in the Shade of Magic trilogy, which I ended up really hating, I needed some good V.E. Schwab again, and I loved it. But yeah, still stayed 5 stars. I enjoyed the audiobook a lot. It was wonderful. The action in here is great. The different powers and like seeing these characters, because I said, like, there's no old good characters. There's no one character that's like, you're a good person. They're all kind of shitty people, and I love things like that. One of my favorite shows is Misfits, which is a bunch of shitty like teenagers and stuff get superpowers, and they're not good people. So I love that whole, what would happen if people really did get these powers? Most people are not going to help anybody. You're going to be out for yourself. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. Stayed 5 stars. I want to read the second one again now. I would like to do a reread so I can have them back to back. But yes, I adore this. This is one of my all-time favorite books, and it stayed that way. So I'm really glad, because I've only read it the once. So this is the second time I read it, and it held up. This next one was the only kind of book. It started off really good, but in the end, I'm not a huge thriller fan, because I like the thriller mystery, because I guess the ending no matter what, and I did on this one. Nothing was really surprising, but it was really good. I did really like the writing, so I would like to read more by this author, and that is Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. This is, like I said, a thriller. It's adult thriller. We're following the story of these 2 sisters who are estranged from each other. Their oldest sister has gone missing for years. Like, she's been missing, I think, since she was like 16 or something, and now they're like in their like 30s, almost 40s, I believe. And like, I saw all the plot twists coming. Nothing was surprising. I will say this is very, very graphic. This deals with a lot of heavy graphic content. So if you do not like I won't say it's a spoiler because it is more of a content warning, but if you don't want to know the content warning that could lead to a spoiler, go ahead and you can like jump maybe 10 seconds or so. But this has, so as of right now, going into the spoilery type of content warnings, there is rape, there is body mutilation, there is a lot of body horror, torture, there is a lot in here. I really love horror movies that deal with like extreme horror and like extreme body torture and what's labeled as horror porn. I enjoy that genre of horror movies a lot. It's just that really deep, depraved type of thing. So nothing in here was shocking to me, and I saw where it was going immediately. I saw every plot twist coming. This is 3 stars. It was a solid 3 stars. It could have been 4, but after the 60% mark, it got so fillery. It was just like most of that last, I want to say, not fully to the end. I would say about 30% from, from the 60 to like near the end of it could have been edited down a lot. It just got, like I said, I zoned out through half of it and nothing really happened in that part that I felt like I missed. I was doing the audiobook and I ended up going up to 3 times the speed during that section, and then I slowed it back down when it did kind of come to the conclusion because I really liked how it ended. It was just a lot of filler. I felt like could have been taken down a lot, but I liked the relationship between the sisters because they are 2 people that have not talked in a long time. One of them in here though, Claire, she was just unforgivable to me because of something. I don't want to spoil it, but there was something that happened in the past that caused her and her sister Lydia to become estranged. And it was so unforgivable to me how she made that choice. And it pissed me off and I just didn't like her. And there was literally no coming back from that for me. I've got those, very slim lines, but when they're crossed, it's like, no. But yeah, I really did like this. I would read more by Karen Slaughter. I'm not sure where I would go next. I think I do have another book by her. But yeah, it was a really great thriller if you like adult thriller. But like I said, no going in. There is a lot of very, very heavy content warning because I know a lot of people don't like to read body horror type of stuff. And that is very heavy in here. So yeah, but it was good. I liked it. The book I'm currently reading as of today, and I'm about the halfway point, is The Forest of a Thousand Lanterns by Julie C. Dow. This is a retelling of Snow White, but we are getting the background story of the evil queen. This is a Chinese-inspired retelling. I'm liking it so far. Like I said, I think just shy of the halfway point. I do like it. It just I like where it's going. Like, it has a lot of potential. But I have a feeling that the author's not going to take it as far as it needs to be. Like, I feel when you're going to be exploring sorry, you can hear like all the noise in the background. I feel like you can, when people write stories of villains, I always feel like they don't push far enough. Like, we already know who these villains are and we know what they're going to do. So they try and make excuses for them on why they become that way, and it kind of waters down the character a bit. I have a feeling that might, I feel like this author could push it. I'm hoping she does. Like I said, I'm only halfway, so I'm hoping she does decide to push very hard on it, because the evil queen is one of those, she asks for someone to cut out her stepdaughter's heart so she can eat it. So, and we've already kind of got the character in here. She eats the hearts, or she gets sacrificed the hearts of bunnies and like different small creatures. So you know where it's going to go. But I just hope she takes it to that next level. I have a feeling she won't, but this is a series, so I'm hoping even if I don't get it in here, I'll get it in the second one. I'm really liking the writing. I love the Chinese aspect of it. The setting's really cool. I have never actually heard anybody talk about this, so this is one of those I'm going in not really with any kind of expectations or anything. Like I said, I just really, really hope the author decides to push it. If not in this book, then in the next book, because yeah, like I said, the evil queen literally wants to eat, you know, a young girl's heart. So I hope we get this kind of just really dark character. So yeah, but like I'm liking it so far. Right now it sits at like maybe a 3.5, yeah, 3.5, maybe 4 as of right now, but like I said, there's still a lot to go. We've just kind of picked up where the plot's going, so yes, I am excited. So I'm hoping to finish that one. I'm filming this right before we leave. We're gonna go to an antique kind of swap meet thing that they're doing. It's outdoors, it's all spaced out, and just kind of to get out of the house, everyone has to wear a mask and everything like that. So I'll throw in a few little clips of that when we go. I'm excited for it, just to get out and see what kind of goodies I find. If I do finish Forest of a Thousand Lanterns, I'm hoping to get in the last book that I need to do a full blackout with no doubling up on my board. And the last book I need is Prince of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. I've already started this one. I'm just under 100 pages in, so I'm hoping I can get through this. It's really short, so I'm gonna hopefully so I can get in the kind of last bit of it. I'm trying to get these 2 books in today. Maybe tomorrow I might cheat a little bit and go over into the first day, but yeah, so I need to get into this one. Hopefully I'm not pushing myself too bad on this one because I'm not digging it that much. It's just the writing is giving me a hard time. It's so freaking dry. Like I said, it's dry as hell. But yeah, so there we go. That is what I will, like I said, I would have thrown in those clips so you can see how my day went and everything. But yeah, so there we go. That wraps up my week. I hope you guys had a wonderful week. What did you read? Did you have any really good books, any bad books that you read this last week? As always though, I'm Bobby. I will leave all my links down below. And if you like this video, thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you later. Happy reading. Bye.